myself, I love by the way of life of saying we Dala what we must, and that's how we go forward.
The Bubbles just had that thing in Cape Town.
All those traps that have been set up for us, whether it's from the education department, whether it's from, you know, the housing department, or whatever the case may be, all those things get set up in order for us to fail. And yet we emerge from these places dressed to the fucking T, like the elite. And that's why I say it's a miracle.
It's a way of life.
Why?
Because it's over the techies.
So to start, do you guys want to quickly introduce yourselves? Say your part in the film. I know some of you guys were in it, some of you are behind the camera. Say what you guys are doing here.
Just clear my throat quickly. No? Who are you today? I'm Rolo Rozay. I don't know what part I played in it, but you know. But yeah, so I'm one of the faces that you see on the screen. You know, yeah.
I think Rolo's being very modest. This man played quite a large role in that. He was the intro. He took you through Bishop Lavers. Let's give a round of applause for Rolo up in here, please. This man is a major player in Cape Town. And he even gave Yassine Bey a pair of tackies as well that he reminded him of. So this is a major player in Cape Town. Myself, on the other hand, I go by the name of YoungstaCPT, YoungstaCPT. I was featured in it as well, representing the south side of Cape Town. And I mean, Brother Imran over here is very informed. He knows who to go to. He went to all the right people, and he captured it. And I'm very honored to have been a part of this, man.
What's up? I'm Imran Christian. I directed, shot, and edited this with the Highsnobiety team. Klaudia, to my left here, is an incredible human and an amazing executive producer, and also the entire Highsnobiety team, because this was actually about 8 or 9 months worth of work, and to have support over, you know, a slightly longer form project in a world of quick, fast content is just quite revolutionary. So just shout out to the whole Highsnobiety fam. Thank you for supporting our vision and our truth. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you for the nice words. So I'm Klaudia. I'm the executive producer of the documentary, and I run the production department at Highsnobiety. And yeah, I mean, I guess my job is doing amazing projects across the globe, giving people around the world a voice. Because, you know, at Highsnobiety, you actually have a lot of power and you can dictate what the people out there can see. So we are really trying to give people who don't get a voice, actually give them a voice, like we did with this documentary. So this project really means a lot, I think, to all of us, you know, because it was never captured before. And so, yeah, and we are all in Dubai. Can you believe it? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, we in Dubai.
Unbelievable. So, yeah, thanks all DXB for having us. And, yeah.
Cool, guys. My name is Zaid Osman. I run an event called Sneaker Exchange, which started about 5 years ago now, and it was always just about like trying to promote sneaker culture in South Africa, but then as well as going into various communities and really trying to find ways to showcase who we are as individuals. I'm also involved with Great Africa, which is a project that I rebranded earlier this year, which is focusing on promoting African brands to the rest of the world.
My name is Brock. I'm the editorial director at Highsnobiety. I oversee our content, work quite closely with Klaudia as well. And yeah, we were thrilled to be able to have this opportunity to make this project with these guys. So yeah, I just want to say thanks to them as well for helping us put together. Yeah, to get us started, Imran, can you tell us why you decided to make this film? Why was it important for you to tell this story?
I guess I need to start with a bit of my career in order to answer that. So it's been, you know, I've been working pretty hard in the last few years, and with certain levels of success, I think people assume that you're going to leave where you come from and go try and make it somewhere else in the world. So for me, with certain levels of success, it's really important to me to, I guess, you know, make it or create some sort of change as a group, you know, as a movement, as a body of people or as a culture, rather than being one person trying to run out. And I mean, I'm raised by the hood, and there's this terrible misconception that colored people are just gangsters in South Africa. They really just think we are gangsters. So to me, there's this really imbalanced narrative in South Africa about who we are as people. And the irony of the imbalance is that in the last few years, I've realized that firstly, that story is bullshit. And then secondly, we are some of the most excellent people in the world. So for me, it was about showing this duality of, okay, you think this is the hood and you think this is a bunch of poor people, but look what we think, look what we are doing, look at the forefront of world culture that we are creating. Because that's the other thing, is that I've realized that South Africa is really an inspiration to the rest of the world. And Cape Town is a real inspiration to South Africa and Africa. So what this is actually doing is it's really informing a lot of our global culture that's coming back now. If you look at current sneaker trends, like bubbles are everywhere. And we've had it for decades. So for me, it was just about marrying these dual worlds almost and trying to create a piece of art out of it.
And you guys cover quite a lot in this 12-minute film. Sneakers are obviously at the forefront of it. Can you guys tell me your earliest memories of sneakers and what they mean to you throughout your lives?
I think I can remember my grails is emo up tempos. And the first time I think I saw it was in George of the Jungle. So after I found that, I got that pair like last year, so I don't even care about other sneakers anymore. But I can still remember like the first pair of Nikes I owned was a pair of Air Screechers with the gold swoosh with the bottle green. I only got it because I had to pass that year. So, and what I did there was another pair of shoes that I also wanted, and then I finessed my sister into buying that, and I knew next year she's not going to fit into that shoe, so I got both pairs. You know? But yeah, so that's like one of my earlier memories of sneakers, you know. And I told Imran, a lot of people are influenced when it comes to these type of shoes by sport. Like I got into it by hip-hop music, so the XXLs, the rap pages, the Source magazines, these things I bought like at CNA, you know, with my pocket money and whatever. So that's where I saw these things and how people dressed. I was never athletic. I always tell them I was never athletic, but I'm a gold medalist when it comes to footwear, you know? So yeah, that's like my earlier memories.
So many memories come to mind, mate. But if I were to touch on one, first pair of Jordans I got was second-hand. Bought it from a friend of mine around the corner. The misconception that you were speaking about with the gangsterism thing, the reason why a lot of people think that is because most colored males are influenced by gangsterism. At least sometime in their lives, they will face either the police system, the gang system, or the prison system. Regardless of if they want to be in it or not, you will be confronted with it and faced with it. And you will have to make a choice with it. So the guy that I bought my Jordans from is a gangster. He sold it to me for 200 Rand. How much money is that in your currency here in Dubai? How much would that be? 50. I bought a pair of Jordan 13s from the movie He Got Game with Denzel Washington, the black and white one, the original colorway. Bought it for 200 Rand, second hand. Just so I could wear it to service day, which is casual clothes on Fridays I have at school. I got me a 200 Rand just so I could wear that second-hand pair of shoes to service. And you know what? Because it was second-hand, the front here, the glue, it was already loose. So after I wore that day, it broke. And that's my earliest memories, goddammit. Pleasant, ain't it?
Okay, I got a quick one with this. My first Nike shoe was actually a Nike Tempo soccer boot, under 9 football. And yeah, changed my whole game, so shout out.
I remember that time with the Indo
Cool.
soccer.
So, like, for me, it was crazy because personally, I grew up in the States. I was born in South Africa and lived that side for about 10 years and then moved back to South Africa. And in the States, I was always into like Nike SB Dunks. That was like every weekend I would be like, yo, I need this new release. And then when we moved back to South Africa, I was 15 years old. And people would always see the type of sneakers that myself and my brothers would be wearing. And they were like, eventually I was like, look, I have homies in the States that I can kind of import these shoes for. And people were always coming to me for like up-tempos, Griffies, and pillars, and all of the stuff, and I didn't really understand it. And I remember like we would go into like the hoods, like Hanover Park and all of these areas out there, and my mom would be like, why are you going there? You know, like, don't, like stay away from these areas. And then eventually like I started to understand it a bit more, and people were always like, yo, we remember these shoes as a kid, like a lot of the people that I was selling it to. And it was always about the dude selling drugs or whatever it is on the corner was always the freshest dude that they always looked up to. And then it was like, now they're in a position to have that accessibility to actually get it. So if they're not eating for a week, it's fine. As long as they have that shoe, that's all like people like need. And for me, like to kind of see that and then to kind of like look at growing that and really looking at it and saying, like why and how, you know, and then going deeper into it, and then meeting guys like even Rolo and Youngster was so crazy because it kind of just, I like understood it a lot more in a sense of, okay, cool, like Cape Town has this bubble culture that has kind of always been there, but now the accessibility is there for people to actually go out there and get it.
Klaudia, you want to share your thoughts? Yeah.
My first Nike? I can't remember, to be honest. I know, like, my first sneaker where I kind of, like, got into it, and that was, like, when I was maybe, like, 12. It was actually a Kappa shoe because my parents couldn't afford Nikes, so I got the cheap Kappas. And that's how it all started, you know.
Kappa
like I remember, like when I, yeah, I mean
Kappa-
they're dope,
Kappa
yeah,
sneakers is
they're
back.
dope, but it's not a bubble and it's not a Nike. But yeah, that was crazy because we had this like I'm from Germany, by the way, so I'm not from South Africa, so you guys have a context to it. And I also like grew up in the projects because like I'm Polish, so my mom came to me to Germany, and you know, like I've been also raised in asylum-seeking homes and that kind of stuff. So, like when growing up, I was like super poor. We didn't have anything, so I had these Kappas. But I came to school, and everybody was raving about these Kappa shoes because nobody has seen them. These were like not the sneakers that were on trend, but you know, nobody knew it. I was the first who actually, trendsetter, exactly. So that was the first one for me.
And the film is called Just Dala, obviously, and in the film, we define Dala as do what you feel is best, what makes you happy. What does Dala mean to you guys personally?
I think it is like just like doing it. And I actually, when I didn't know that they were gonna call the movie Just Dala, but it makes sense, you know, because you do a lot of things. So, and you don't think about it, but like things happen like for a reason, you know. So yeah, Dala, just Dala what you must, you know.
For me, it was a bit of a play on words because obviously Nike is just do it, and our version is just Dala. It's Dala. You must feel it in you when you say Dala. Dala.
Say it with your
There's no actual real English word for Dala. You know what I mean? That's why we have to make the translation do what you have to. But that even doesn't quite get it. You must feel it in your chest. Dala. It's like a thing of doing. You know? Right? Yeah. Everybody, please say Dala. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Feel it with your chest. 1, 2, 3. Feels good.
Because we can fit Dala you also.
Yo, that's a different movie. That's a different movie.
And can you guys remember the early days of bubblehead culture in Cape Town? I imagine it's evolved since then. Like, it's probably not just Nikes anymore, but can you tell me about what the old days were like?
Like if you look at it, baseball, NFL, basketball, where we from, we don't have that facilities. Yeah, and like in Athlone, that's where there's a lot of baseball players. But like NFL, you know, yeah, that's a baseball. But NFL, like we've never, I don't know how to play NFL, but I'm wearing NFL sneakers. You understand? So when you look at it, we don't know where we, like, that's the type of thing. So like 96, say 95, 96, after apartheid, I think that's when we got a lot of access to these type of things. But before that, there was brands like Reebok, Fila, those things. But like I think after the apartheid era, that's when you could start seeing these things. Because I remember earlier, the sneakers that I can vividly remember is like Reebok Black Tops, pre-seasons, those type of things. But like the Nikes came afterwards, and that's from that era. That's like a clear indication, you know, the turfs, you know.
And in the film, you guys mentioned that everything that you guys were wearing 10 years ago is popular now. But where were you guys getting your sort of like social style cues from? Was it just the local culture around you, or who are you guys looking up to?
So in the area that I stay in, it's called Wynberg. They were talking about it. Rolo mentioned it as well when he said the bubble culture was very big in Wynberg. That is like a shopping district for the middle to lower in-class bracket. So you'll find majority black people and colored people are shopping in Wynberg. Nowadays, people don't even want to go shop in Wynberg anymore because of how dangerous it is to shop there. Shoplifting, pickpocketers, robberies, car break-ins, you name it, it's happening. Broad daylight, not at night though. So people don't really shop there that much. But all the cool stores, Street Fever, Urban Mania, Speed Trainer, American Clothing, Zack and Miller, Cohen's. So all that, Techie Town, all that was located in the same area, in the same road. And because I grew up there, like when we'd have to go shopping, you know, to buy the groceries, I'd walk past these shops and most of the time just look at everything that they had. And at this time, you must remember, they're selling like LeBrons, they're selling the Griffies, they're selling the up-tempos. So for me, it's just a desirable thing. It's not something that I can actually have. At this time, I couldn't have those kinds of things. And also what I've been noticing is that the signature shoes, like the shoes that are named after players, were very popular and still are very popular. If you look at Jordans, Pippins, Barclays, Pennies, those are very popular. Vince Carter's. If you look at the things that those players did when they played basketball, like I said in there, they were beyond average. They were beyond good. They did things that other players couldn't do. Now, if you look at the guys that were wearing it, they are beyond your average hustler. He's beyond your average gangster. He's making more money than the guy was last month, and he's wearing that shoe as well. So even though they don't watch the sport, the magnitude of the player and the character speaks to his personality in terms of, I want to be the best. I want to win. I want to be MVP. And I might not be able to play the sport, but I'm going to wear his shoes because it represents victory. And in a place where they put you designed to lose, all you want to do is win, bro. You know? So for me, seeing those shoes in that main road every day, that was my target. That was my motivation. And I just looked at what the other guys did to acquire those shoes. Sometimes they did the illegal shit, so I tried to stay away from that. But I just found the ways that they acquired wealth. And I followed that principle as well, you know. But the area I stayed in influenced a lot of guys on how to dress and where to get the dope shit. Because all the dope shit was located where I stayed. So everyone had to pass by there sometime to come get a pair of sneakers.
And do you think the internet and social media has changed that? Because I imagine you guys have the same access now to product that people do here, that people do in the US. Do people still want the same shoes in Cape Town that they do like in New York and LA, the Yeezys, the Virgils, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Social media has changed the hype game to a hectic degree. For like just one thing that really sums us up is the new Comme des Garçons Shock. I don't know if you guys have seen the new CDG Shock, but that is a hood shoe, you know? And CDG is now championing the shocks and the bubbles and all of those things. So that for me is a telltale sign of, you know, how the streets are converging with the forefront of street fashion, actually.
And it's crazy, like 10 years ago, we would get like the Nike Yeezy ones releasing and they would sit on shelves. Like people would still come to me and I would be like, yo guys, I have these Yeezy ones for you guys. They'd be like, no, rather give me an up-tempo. And like to really see that, because a lot of those shoes I would just buy and then sell them back to the States. And at that time, it's like you'll get the Jordan countdown packs going on sale racks. You'll go into the outlets. Jordan bin fives will be sitting at the outlets. And people didn't really they didn't want them. It was like, yo, rather give me an up-tempo, rather give me a Griffey. And to see that transition now, I mean, now in South Africa, you will get dudes camping out or entering raffles and all of those type of stuff, or all of the Yeezys that are dropping for everything that's coming out, you know? And I mean, I do feel like the internet and social media played a big part in that, you know, to kind of look at it kind of shows like, look, this is cool in the rest of the world. So then there is that kind of like guinea piggy attitude to it as well in South Africa, you know. But there's always guys that are true and know what they want. And I feel like that's something that Cape Town really has. And it's a culture, a bubble culture that I don't really see it in the rest of the world as much, you know. And especially something like this to really showcase that to the rest of the world is amazing, because it shows that, look, this is who we are, this is what we're doing, and really going out there and showing the world who we are.
And then the fact that it's done with Highsnob says that really the streets are at the forefront of street culture, you know, because it's this relationship between the very front and, you know, the ground itself. So again, that makes it even more, you know, revolutionary.
To touch on those first Yeezys that dropped. So I walk into this one store and I see all them. And then I'm like, yo, what's the lay-by policy on this? And it's like, yo, we just opened the store. We can't do it on lay-by. I'm like, no, speak to your manager there. So as I left, I came back the next day and then Zaid bought all the shoes there. But again, with social media, it's different because like you get the stuff that's hyped up, like the Off-Whites. But then there'll be another shoe, I will never forget it, where one store, Jack Lemke, sold 217 pairs of speed turfs in one morning. And it was not documented. Like the guys that was in the queue, I don't even think they do social media. They all have small phones.
Definitely.
And they all were wearing Nike tracksuits. Like you won't, like when you had to see that queue, you would be scared to go there because like, but now you must also think those aren't really those guys, but they have that image of the guys that we know. Like, so when with that type of power that we have, to sell so many pairs of shoes in one morning, and that's only one store, and all the other stores cleared out because I cleared out a few stores that morning as well.
And it's speed turfs, you know, it's not Off-White like you're saying, it's speed turfs. I imagine most people here won't even know what the speed turf is, funnily enough.
You know, it's the shoe that Dan Marino wore in NFL, you know. But yeah, so that's like the type of thing. So you do see the social media aspect of it, but there's also somebody that doesn't have social media, but they were in that queue. So that's the type of thing that we see in Cape Town when it comes to the bubble culture.
And Klaudia, I know you've been now to Cape Town a few times. What made you want to do this film with these guys? How did you see the story there?
The first time I went to Cape Town was actually 2 years ago. I went there on holidays, very casually, because I heard it's a great place and one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I can confirm, I have never seen anything like that before. And you know, Brock, we've been everywhere with Highsnobiety, but like Cape Town was very special from the beginning. And I traveled there with one of my best friends who happens to be a very amazing photographer. So we wanted to shoot a story for, again, Highsnobiety print magazine, and we just linked up with locals in Cape Town to shoot a story with them, to feature for the first time on Highsnobiety people from Cape Town. And this is how I met Imran. He was like one of the guys in the cruise, and we just stayed in touch. And actually, once I left the country, I came back with another project 2 months later, which was Nike Golf. You know, like we met, and immediately I was like, yo, I have to work with this kid, because what's special about Cape Town? I've never been to a place where that is like so fueled with positive energy from the people and so much creative energy. Like it's, I mean, you know, like you don't find this in LA, you don't find that in Paris or London or New York. Like the people there are so positive, they have so much hope, and they're insanely creative and driven. Like it's unbelievable. And that's why, like, yeah, shout out to the people in Cape Town. Yeah, it's really unbelievable, and also like they received me, you know, with open hands, and you barely find that anywhere else. When you go to New York, people are arrogant. LA, same, you know, like they're like, who are you? Cape Town received us with like really open hands, so big up to you guys. And yeah, and you know, then we did this Nike Golf project for the first time, which kind of blew up in Cape Town for you guys. You know, I just gave them apparently money to do something with Nike for us. It's simple as that, you know, because I mean, Highsnobiety does a lot of advertising, so we really, you know, we fought for that story to happen in Cape Town because Nike was like, not sure, you know, it was something that Nike has never done before, going to Cape Town and doing an advertorial there, but we were really battling for it to happen, and then it happened after like a few months of shoots. And it kind of blew up for them, and I returned last year in December again, and obviously, like, by now we're almost like family, and then Imran was like, I want to contribute to the print magazine. I was like, okay, cool, you know, like, we need to try to find a story. And then this was the bubble hats, and we actually just wanted to shoot like a 15-second teaser, you know, to promote the print article, and now we have this 12-minute documentary. We just continued to shoot.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I'm glad it came together how it did. Youngster, you mentioned in the film, you talk about the traps of the education and housing departments. Could you elaborate on what those traps are and how you feel that sneakers, style, streetwear helps you overcome those obstacles?
This is the thing, bro. Shoes are simple. You hear what I'm saying? Tech is this. Footwear, it's simple. It's an extension of the personality. You know exactly what you want when you walk in a shop. It's very few times that the salesman can convince you to take something that you don't actually want. You know your style. You know what you like and you know what you don't like. So you're always going to have a specific look or feel that you go for. Definitely. Because shoes are simple. It's functional. It's durable. It's made for walking. That's the purpose of it. Now, housing, government, inequality, segregation, that's complicated. It's not like shoes. Shoes, I tie the laces, I put it on, I walk out the house, it's over. People break their neck occasionally, bam, finish. This other problem, the system of apartheid, of colonialism, of slavery, that's something that I can't even figure out. I'm 26 years old, how would I know? How would I know the problem? How would I know how to fix it? I was born into it. They didn't give me a solution, they didn't give me a guidebook, they didn't give me rules, nothing. And when I grew up in this world and saw this environment, I looked for the positive things because there are many positives in Cape Town. Because these people have nothing else to really look forward to or be hopeful about. So they find the smallest things, and whether it be a shoe, something as simple as this, it brings so much joy because of the status it comes with, because of the respect that certain shoes carries. For example, like the Pro Streak or like the Speed Turf, like we were talking about, 127 in a morning. They sold 127 pairs of shoes in one morning in Cape Town, a shoe that wasn't trending anywhere else in the world. It wasn't on Twitter, it wasn't on Insta, nothing. But in Cape Town, they sold out that shit. And for me, I realized that we are a rare breed, you know. For us to kind of mask the pain and to mask the trials and tribulations that go on in Cape Town, we disguise it very well, you know. We dress to the T just to show you that even though we are not supposed to succeed, we still succeeded. And we are still succeeding daily. It's hard. Right now in Cape Town, it's almost worse than it has ever been. Apartheid is over. Nelson Mandela liberated us, but things are almost worse now for these kids than it ever was. Because also of the social media, because they're spending more time on their phone, because they don't know how to interact, because they're not streetwise anymore. They're spending more time streaming and filtering shit than they are looking outside and paying attention to the poverty or to the gangsterism or to the drug peddling that's going on or to the kids who are bunking school, not even getting a high school education. The bare minimum, bro. High school is bare minimum. There's kids who are 14 years old who are hitmen. 14, bro. You think this man is coming to ask you for a 5 rand? And that's not the case. That's not the case with him, you know? So for that to be a reality in 2018, and It's 2019. Let's just get that shit straight. It's not 2018 anymore. Sorry, forgive me. For that to be a reality now is scary. That's why I say it's complicated. I can't really figure out. I don't know the mechanics. I don't really know the solution. I'm trying to find a way. I'm trying to use music as a tool. We use fashion, streetwear as a tool. But at the end of the day, this is a much bigger problem that hopefully the coming generations will find a solution for through the work that we are putting in. I look at us as the laborers. We are the laborers. Because in order for things to get built, you need laborers. These massive skyscrapers in Dubai, I love it. I've never seen anything like it. It's the first time I'm ever here. I've never seen anything like this shit. It's amazing. But there is a group of Owens that had to build that. There's guys that came to slave every day from sundown to sunup to build that thing. And one day it will look beautiful. So maybe that's what we're doing. Maybe we have to be the slaves now and put in the blood, sweat, and tears so that these kids can live a better life in the future, bro.
Like to touch on like the traps that's set up for us. Do you know it's easier to get a Golf 6 GTI than to buy a house? So I can get a Golf GTI easy, 250,000 rand, but I can't buy a house. Like they'll vet you like nothing. Like you won't be able to buy a house, but you can get that GTI quickly. You know, so that's the type of traps. Like they want us to rather look flashy in the GTI, but you don't own any property. You know, so that's the type of traps that we see. You know, so. You know, there is government subsidies available, but like they'll still tell you, yo, you must first qualify for the bond. But I can go into any dealership and buy a GTI one day, you know.
Yeah, this is also a tough one for me because there's also this thing of like poverty porn kind of going on in the world. So people are always trying to ask us to fucking show our pain and get us to talk about our bleeding parts and whatever and all this hectic shit. But, you know, there's a real flip side to all of that, and that is perspective of time for me. If I'm going to place myself in the last 400 years, then there's no ways I'm going to overcome these systemic issues. But I don't place myself in the last 400 years. My ancestors go 6,000 years back. So for me, I remember a time when we were great. And for me, I don't give a fuck about these systemic, you know, whatevers anymore, because I don't only place myself in the last 400 years. I feel like we are actually a living example of the greatness that we once were, and for us and for our people, quite simply, it's just about remembering, you know. So for me, a lot of this and a lot of the work, all the work, even Why We Are, Youngster just dropped his first single from the new album, 3T. It's definitely, you know, labor, 100%, but it's also about punching people in the memory, punching the memory, and hopefully they'll remember that we're actually great and we don't have to fucking stab each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to add on that, it's like really going out there and finding ways to inspire kids, you know? Like, I see it a lot with the events that we do, Sneaker Exchange, is you'll get like 13, 14-year-old kids coming through, and it's like, whether it's a sneaking cleaner brand or whether it's a local clothing company or whatever, it's like really go out there and find a way to really inspire kids to go out there and create. Because the unemployment rate in South Africa is so high, but there's so many jobs that need to be done. And it's like, if you're just gonna like wait around to get that break of working at a company or whatever, and it's like, no, really go out there and find that way, to pave that way, to show that kids that, look, it is actually possible. Like in this world, there's always so many gatekeepers and all of that stuff. And like for me personally, I'm just like, yo, I actually don't care. Like I'm just gonna go out there and continue doing what I believe is right, have a strong belief system, and everything is gonna work out as it should.
As someone that's never actually been to Cape Town, but what I gather talking to you guys, I would love to come, man. I know, I need to. Yeah, next time I'm coming with Klaudia, for sure. But what I gather talking to you guys, and of course seeing the film, is that it seems to me sneakers play a sort of similar role in the community and the culture that music does, and that it brings people together regardless of background. I know, you guys are trying that with Sneaker Exchange, Sneakers Without Color. Is that a fair assessment? Is that your guys' experience?
When you look at it, like I'm in Dubai because of sneakers.
What are we doing here, my bro?
I'm in Dubai because of sneakers, you know? like we don't have a blueprint for this. You know, like I've just been myself. You know, so when you look at the platforms that we do have, you know, a lot of people don't take it serious, you know, but like a lot of people will tell you, yo, you inspire me, you do this, but like I don't have a proper answer to tell you how I did it because I'm still busy doing it. You know, I haven't figured this shit out because we do things for this culture, but at the back end, I'm raising children, you know, so you need to think like how serious you need to look at everything when it comes to you dressing kwai or, you know, you doing this, you doing that, but like you need to also know, yeah, just putting a little bit of inspiration in like the young kids, that's enough. Like me responding to comments, responding to messages, you know, stuff like that. Like I try my best, you know. I don't always get the time, but like we've been doing this so long, like, you know, how long can we still do it? But like at the back end, you get the joy on taking pictures with lighties. Like I went to Joburg for the first time, and someone asked me for a picture. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, a picture with me? Why? You know, but like those are the small things, you know. You take time for just to give back, you know. But yeah.
I think it also goes back to what Zaid and what Youngster was actually saying is that, I mean, the truth about sneakers is that it's also heavy competition. It's not like, we're not like kumbaya with our sneakers around our, it's hectic competition. Like the streets are actually at each other's whatever necks because of the collection and the supply and the demand and what. But I think that's also what makes this project and our relationship incredible is because one of the traps that is set up for us is that we kind of hate each other and we hate ourselves in that sense as young colored people and young black people, especially in South Africa. So to be able to work together is against the system, specifically in Cape Town. So again, it's just again putting forward a blueprint, like Rolo says, of what if we did stuff together and then went global with it? Imagine that, you know. So again, it's just about this blueprint.
What's the most like interesting thing about this project is actually like that we go back in time what actually street culture and sneaker culture used to be and how it actually got developed. Because right now, what you're seeing is like a lot of consumerism. It's just about like owning the dopest sneakers. It's not about the meaning behind a sneaker no more or who designed it or, you know, what thoughts went into that sneaker. It's really about like, okay, that's cool, I want to have it, I buy it, you know, like, and then resell or whatever. But, you know, like what you guys are about is like really the core of what street culture is, you know, like this bubble culture grew on the street and was raised on the streets, you know, and now we are bringing it like out globally so people see like, you know, it's a kind of like nice like reminiscence of street culture to me personally. This is what it means actually, yeah.
And just to add on to that, like back to your point with music and sneakers, and even with like the whole sneakers have no color campaign that we're pushing out, it's like sneakers is something that everybody can relate to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm sure when Youngster puts out his music as well, it's like, you don't exactly know who that is. You obviously have your target audience and all of that in mind, but it's like something that you're putting it out there for the world to kind of recognize. And it's the same thing with sneakers. It's like, whether Virgil and Nike is dropping that off-white sneaker or something, it's something that each race can kind of relate to. And I mean, I think it's something that brings us together as one, even though we're competing against each other to get that shoe. You know, if there's 15 pairs releasing, you got 10 people in the raffle, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really just trying to find that way to kind of bridge and kind of grow that community. But in the end of the day, we're all human, and we need to fight towards humanity.
Because Zaid made the link with music, I'd like to continue that link because, as Rolo also mentioned, we learned all this shit from hip-hop. Hip-hop taught us this. Before the sports taught us, he didn't watch no football. But he probably saw a rapper wearing one of these tackies and found out the name of it and then got it. So hip-hop is the center of it all as far as the reason why we are here. It joined us somehow, whether it was we emulated the way they dressed or the beats for me and the music for me and the rapping for me, you know. But the outlook of it, the outfit of hip-hop, we took that. And because hip-hop is a disadvantaged genre of music, I said it in that documentary, hip-hop is not a rich genre of music. If it was rich, then why is every rapper that's coming out talking about cooking crack still? Why? He's rich. You don't have to cook crack. But that tells you hip-hop still comes from the ghetto. Migos is still rapping about cooking crack and Pyrex and whipping work. It's coming from the ghetto. Lil Uzi is still doing, the crazy. It's coming from the hood. So at the end of the day, hip-hop will never, ever be a rich genre of music. Hip-hop is rich now. Hip-hop's getting money now, but it's new money. It's not old money. It's not inherited money. So because hip-hop is a disadvantaged genre of music, the message will always go to the ghetto. And how do they dress in the ghetto? We saw Just Dala. So because of that, the reason that Cape Town is unique, though, is because we combine the hip-hop that we learned from America by reading the XXL and the Source and the Vibe and Word Up. Even Slam magazine, some of us read the basketball. I don't know if you remember that one. Was there a Soul magazine as well? I just need to clear this up. Was there a Soul? A Soul Collector, no?
Yeah,
yes,
Soul Collector.
Yes,
yeah,
there
yeah.
was. Okay, so there was a Soul magazine. I knew I saw the name somewhere before. But the fact that we went that deep with it and we researched it and then we combined what was going on in the Cape Flats with that drape. So we combined that clothing with that lifestyle that we were living in Cape Town. That's how you get this. The product, the end result is us, bro. And we plan to carry this thing on for years so that these kids can benefit of the same shit that we got here on. Like you said, Takis brought him here. Rapping about Kaapstad, screaming Kaapstad, Naya brought me here. My mother never would have dreamed that would work, bro. But it worked. So clearly there's a future in this shit for us and we're going to ride it out till the end of the wave, bro.
Imran, as the director, I think this question is mostly for you. If there's one thing people can take from this film, what would you say it would be?
Yeah, Dala what you must. You do what you must do. Everyone say Dala. 1, 2, 3.
Before we open up the questions to the audience, do you guys want to tell us what you're wearing today? I know you guys have been speaking about it a bit, but just quickly say what shoes you decided to rock today.
It's Jordan 16. Always wanted these as a child. Never ever had a pair of it until I was 26 years old.
These are Pro Streaks. They launched, I think they dropped first like around 1996. Can't remember the bro who played in it, but yeah.
Off-White 97. I like it because you can't get it.
Very simple Nike Air Force Ones, but only 150 of these available because they have Highsnobiety on the side. So none of you can get them.
I'm rocking the Off-White Converses. It's actually crazy. I got these in this week. Store out in Cape Town, Jack Lemkus did a surprise drop with them, and I made my way there early and ended up with 2 pairs.
Cool. Do we have any questions from the audience? Anybody want to ask here?
Don't be scared.
It's always the first one that gets people going, so.
I'm pretty sure Robbie has maybe a question. I don't know. Ask. Actually, I'm going to give the mic over to you.
First of all, shout out to all the South Africans in the building. Yo, look at all the South Africans here.
So you guys are here in Dubai at Soul DXB. It's a place you said you never thought you would be before. You might not have even known that Soul DXB existed. But if you could have a direct line now back to your younger selves, or even to the people that are in Cape Town while you're here, what would you say to them? What's the thing that you would say to those guys?
I think it's just what you want to do in your life, And I think it's trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and know what the bigger picture is, and just continue working towards that in everyday life.
Yeah, I also think just be yourself, man. Be you. Because at the end of the day, you're the only you. So you just have to be you. That's all that I can tell people to do. Like young kids, I always tell them just be yourself. Don't try and mimic what you've seen or you can take inspiration, but you don't do a direct carbon copy of it. That's all that I can say.
If I had a direct line, I would tell myself and those who have been seeing in these magazines how proud I am of them. I would tell them how perfect they are, just the way they are, and I would tell them how worthy they are of all the praise and accolades that they are getting at this moment, bro. The fact that I walked in that Highsnobiety booth and saw childhood friends of mine on that wall, I felt emotional because they're not here to see it. They're not here to see the impact. They're not here to see how much people have seen them. They can't share the moment with me. Rolo is here. He can share it with me. Imran can share it with me. Zaid can share it with me. Muffin Man can share it with me. And Jerry. But at the end of the day, these guys, at this moment in time, are facing some of the hardest conditions, and I can't even throw them a lifeline. So I would just look back and say that I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of them for surviving and staying alive this long, and I'm proud of them just for being positive and remaining happy and, just exuding a light in a dark place, bro.
Yeah, that's some real truth there. I definitely echo that. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, so,
Well, I think that's an amazing note to end on. So I want to thank the Just Dala guys one more time for coming out here and doing this. It was really amazing to work with you guys on this. And yeah, thanks
Salute
again.
us to Highsnobiety.
Salute, Highsnob.
Salute us, Highsnobiety. Thanks a lot, guys. Imran Christian, ladies and gentlemen, he directed Just Dala. He's a great man. And I love his outfit, and so does everyone else. He's taken more pictures than anyone in this event, my bro.
So you guys know you're amongst the first people in the world to see this. There was also a premiere in Cape Town a week ago, and we're going to be premiering this on our website next week. So you can find it there again if you want to watch it, share it with your friends. But yeah, thanks again, everybody, for coming, and hope you have a great time.
Spread the message. And one thing to note as well, we have a booth next to our friends at Dior, actually. And we printed an exclusive zine from the Just Dala documentary with pictures of Imran, so you can buy it only here in Dubai. Yeah, this one, exactly this one. You can also use it as posters, and we will actually donate the money also to a charity in Cape Town. So support that project, please.